Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Morgan Rogers is Chelsea's dream signing this summer. We also have some player updates regarding Marc Guiu, Nicholas Jackson, KDH, João Felix, Xavi Simons, and Jorel Hato. Not only that, but Chelsea are really considering going in for Kenan Yildiz, and Chelsea have just signed an 18-year-old wonderkid from Crystal Palace. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k before the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Ben Jacobs has reported that Gusto isn't looking to move club this summer and it would be unlikely that Chelsea entertain any bids. I really like this because we know the potential of what Gusto can do. We've seen how good Gusto can be under Pochettino. Not so much under Enzo Maresca, other than that Club World Cup final where he was absolutely exquisite and back to his best as an overlapping right back. I feel like we could potentially see more of that next season with Enzo Maresca tweaking his system, with the new players coming into the squad and just having that versatility and free-flowing football. I do also think it depends on who we are playing. It depends on who our opponents are. Enzo Maresca likes to kind of line up and tactically differently and have different lineups depending on our opponents, which I think is a very smart move. But I do feel like the redemption arc for Malo Gusto starts next season. So I'm very glad that Chelsea are not entertaining any offers and they want to keep him. He's a French international. He's such a good right back. We know that he can be. He's just had a stinky season under Enzo Maresca because Enzo Maresca hasn't utilised him in the best way. He's tried inverting him and doing different roles. You know, we're seeing Gusto in half spaces, etc. throughout the season. And it just hasn't clicked for Malo Gusto because he is an out-and-out right back that loves to go up and down that right wing and he can cause trouble. He can create goals. He hasn't scored for Chelsea just yet. The only goals he has scored have always been deflections, which I kind of feel for him. He's screaming out for that first Chelsea goal. Let's be honest, it will be limbs when he eventually scores it. But I'm hoping that with Chelsea looking to keep him next season and Enzo Maresca looking to utilise him with the facts of Reece James can invert, looking that Gusto can only be that one-dimensional right back going up and down that right wing and obviously defensively, that Maresca has taken notice from that Club World Cup final and gone, do you know what? We need to utilise that more throughout next season, and Gusto is perfect for that because he's still extremely young for a French international with Premier League experience. In his first season with Pochettino, he bagged 8 assists. 8 assists as a youngster in a new league in his first season. That's really, really good return for a right back. So let's just hope that Bayern Munich don't come sniffing around because we know he's been linked with Bayern Munich for a lot. They don't come sniffing around and put in a massive bid because we know what these owners are like. If there is profit to be made, they will take it. And I'm hoping that we do keep Gusto because he's a valuable member of this squad. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Malo Gusto. Would you look to offload him in this summer, or are you happy that Chelsea are looking to keep him for next season for Enzo Maresca? Ben Jacobs has also reported that Fulham had made a formal approach to sign Kenan Yildiz from Chelsea. It would need to be more than £30 million that Chelsea paid to Leicester. Now that makes total sense. These owners are going to look for profit, especially where they can. We've got a lot of players looking to be offloaded this summer. We're looking to recoup that money. No more try before you buy. Let's scoop in all that money. Let's make some profit because the squad is getting refined into what Enzo Maresca wants for the future, which is amazing to see, by the way. Now, when it comes to KDH, I'm actually a little disappointed. Well, not disappointed, a little bit sad because I feel like this player goes under the radar a lot. I think he had a very good season for Chelsea because he's a player that does a job. That's his role. He comes in for 20 minutes, runs around, presses like crazy, puts some challenges in, maybe gets forward with the ball and tries to create something, but he's there to shore the game up. And he does that very, very well. Every time he's played for Chelsea, even in the Conference League, I feel like Chelsea fans were expecting something completely different of him, myself included, when he was signed under Enzo Maresca when he first made that move. We thought, oh wow, this is a player that's going to help embed the system. He is going to be a focal point. This makes no sense because Kenan Yildiz isn't on Chelsea's level. And that's what a lot of people viewed it as, myself included. I was like, this is not a Chelsea signing. However, like I said, as the season's gone on and you can see that Kenan Yildiz is a squad player, has a job to do and does it very, very well, goes under the radar a lot, I kind of want Chelsea to keep him for next season. Yes, our squad is getting stacked and we have a lot of players coming in, but I still feel like there is a role for KDH to perform next season under Maresca. However, these owners love profit. So if Fulham come in for more than £30 million, I can quite easily see Kenan Yildiz being moved on. And I say I'm disappointed or I'm sad. If he does go for profit, I'm kind of like, okay, cool, it makes sense. I can understand why they would do that. He's not a key player of the starting 11. But also, that sort of sadness and disappointment comes from the fact that he has still got a job that he can do in this squad, and he does that job very well. So I feel like if he goes, who is going to replace his role within the squad? who is that player that's going to do the KDH role of only being called upon when needed, but when he is called upon, does a fantastic job. So I'm very curious to know your guys' thoughts down below. Do you feel like £30 million is a good amount to get someone like KDH moving on to Fulham? I think this is a good move for him. I think he'd do very well at Fulham personally. But understanding the logic of him having a role to do within the squad, if he does leave, who then takes his place as the KDH role of someone who's, called upon when needed, but does that job very well? Very curious to know your thoughts below. Fabrizio Romano has reported that Benfica are going big for João Felix and are in contact with Jorge Mendes to try and make it happen. They don't have crazy money, but they are really trying. Now, I've mentioned João Felix and Benfica a lot over the last week, and I'm not going to talk about this too long because we kind of know where we're standing. I've always said that Benfica, João Felix, it makes sense. I feel like Chelsea will have some sort of deal in place which makes sense for both parties to accommodate the fact that Benfica don't have a lot of money for transfers, but they can still secure their man. So the last thing that we reported or reacted to here on the channel was that Chelsea were looking to do 20 million euros or 20 million pounds and then 50% of his image rights or 50% of João Felix rights, because then we can still recoup the money and it's not an immediate loss. We can earn that money over time. I personally feel like this will be the route that goes down. Now, it does depend on Mendes and Felix because there's agent fees involved, there's wages involved. I feel like João Felix is that type of player who would quite happily work within Benfica's budget to get the move because he did the same for Chelsea. He was like, wage cut, no problem. I'll go play in the Premier League. I'll go back to Chelsea. Love that place. Felt like home straight away because the fans had a chant on day one. Like, he just really loved the place. I'm still sad that it hasn't worked out for him at Chelsea. But at the same time, Mendes likes to line his own pockets, which is probably the reason why Felix bounces around so many clubs so much, because he gets paid, and he gets paid handsomely. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens and how it pans out, but I still think that it will be a reduced fee up front and some along the lines of add-on fees that are achievable and image rights. I think that those two, there was talks of 50% of his rights, which means, again, Chelsea could just kind of claw some money back sort of passively, really, until they make that money. There'll be a certain cut-off date for that. I don't see them having his rights 50% indefinitely. That'd be wild, because that'd be worth so much money over the course of his career. But you never know. It could be in there, so then when Benfica sell him on, there could be a sell-on clause, which means we recoup our money that way, or we could still hold them rights, which means whoever buys him after Benfica would have to purchase the rights off of us as well. So there's a lot of tangibles there, but I feel like Chelsea are willing to work with Benfica because they just want João Felix off the books. They've made it abundantly clear that this is the summer he has to go, and they're doing their best to do that. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Will João Felix end up at Benfica? And how do you think Chelsea are going to play this? With a reduced transfer fee? Are they going to demand the full amount? Or are they going to work it around with, lesser agent fees or some of the image rights? Do you feel like that's a good move? Maybe a buyback clause? Let me know your thoughts down below. Fabrizio Romano has also reported that understand Chelsea have opened doors to a loan move for Marc Guiu, but no buy option will be included. The clear priority for Chelsea is loan in England. Want Guiu to develop and play in England next season. I absolutely love this. I think we can all agree that Marc Guiu is at the perfect stage of his career where he needs to develop. We've got 3 strikers on the books currently: Nicolas Jackson, Delap and Pedro. There is no right pathway for Guiu to break into the first team this season, and I feel like that is the best move for development, best move for the squad, because this is a season where we really want to start competing for things, right? I think we can all agree that we want to improve on next season, so there is limited opportunity for Guiu to develop in a Chelsea shirt. Last season he had a lot of Conference League games. Unfortunately, he got injured around January and was out for a long period of time, because that would have been perfect for his development. It really would have helped him kick on. Now, there were talks when we signed Liam Delap that Guiu would go on loan to Ipswich, like a one-way transaction, right? We get Delap, they get Guiu in separate deals, basically a swap deal, right? And it's kind of gone quiet around Marc Guiu for sure. Now, there's been some murmurs here and there that we're open to a loan, but I'm glad that Chelsea have already put their foot down saying it's a loan only. There's no obligation to buy. There's no buy option. He is a Chelsea player. We want him to develop because he has a career and a future here at Chelsea. This guy has got some incredibly raw talent. We all love Marc Guiu. We want to see him do well. I personally feel like he should be going to Ipswich because, like I've said in many videos before, imagine Marc Guiu getting regular game time in the Championship. He's stocky, he's physical, he's quick, he can finish. It's raw. He, obviously needs to develop and become a polished player. More games in the Championship. It's a very physical league. I think he would find it hard, but also progress massively in that league. Now, if he does secure a Premier League loan move, even better, because that's the league that we want him to be playing in for Chelsea. Will it accelerate his growth more than the Championship? I'm not too sure, because again, you never really know until a player goes and does that, right? But Very, very good news that Chelsea have no buy option included. They want him to stay in England. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Would you like him to get a Premier League loan move, or do you think a Championship loan move would actually benefit him more because of, you know, the physicality of the league and more game time? Where do you think he ends up? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Does he go to Ipswich, or does he go to another Premier League club? Let me know your thoughts. Ben Jacobs has also reported that Villa and United feel they won't move on Jackson at the moment because the price is so high. Chelsea are happy with Jackson and their other two strikers. Maresca also likes Jackson. Now this is interesting because we've clearly been shopping Jackson around. And Chelsea have been very smart in this sense of going, let's look at all the other deals that have gone through in this window. Everyone seems to be going for a very high inflated price. We managed to get 52.5 million for Noni Madueke. Alanga's gone for silly money. Kudus has gone for silly money. Mbeumo has gone for silly money. Hugo has gone for silly money. Gyökeres has gone for smart money, if I'm being honest. I think Arsenal got a very good deal there. So they're looking at Jackson and going, well, he's a £100 million striker. There's a short supply of number 9s in the world football right now. He has potential, and if Hugo is worth 95 million euros, then, you know, Jackson is a £100 million player. He's got Premier League experience, more GA across 2 seasons, the most available number 9s in the summer window. So Chelsea really raised that price, and they said that they're more than happy to take like 60-70 million pounds for him, which again is like double and a bit more of what we paid for him a couple seasons ago, which is 32 million. Villa have been interested, United are interested, and it looks like they won't be going for him because the price is too high. Well, to be fair, Chelsea win here, because I still feel like there is a lot of potential in Nicholas Jackson, and if he stays at Chelsea, this is the season where he has to put his head down, work hard, and prove to the fans, to the manager, to the club, everyone, why he deserves to be in that starting 11. Because now he has competition in João Pedro and Delap that have been instant impacts, that have landed and done bits already, helped us win that Club World Cup, when in comparison, Jackson embarrassed us a little bit with that silly red card and a lack of great performance. He did get a very good assist for the Neto goal. I'm not saying that he was completely useless, but in comparison to the other 2 strikers that have come in, worlds apart. And I feel like Jackson is probably a bit overwhelmed, but he's already come out many times and said that he wants to put his head down, stay at Chelsea and work hard. Prove it. This is going to be the season. If Chelsea don't offload him this summer, it's a case of, right, Jackson, we will see you when Maresca thinks you are ready to be taking out Delap or Pedro from that starting 11. And in all honesty, that excites me a little. That does excite me a little, because that means if I see Jackson on the team sheet, he has to have earned that right to be there. He's not there by default because we have no one else, right? And that should excite all of us as fans. If he's going to be selected, it means he's outperformed Delap and Pedro in training throughout the weeks or whatever, and he's earned his spot. And then if he doesn't perform, he just jumps straight back down the pecking order. So, and if we do sell him, we make 70 million, which is like, you know, more than double than what we pay for him. So it's pure profit. So either way, Chelsea are winning. They've got a very good striker that's going to continue to develop and has Premier League experience. But if they sell him for a higher amount of money and make profit, cool. So I'm very much like, oh wow, I think the club's done very well in this specific position. I think that they've done well to inflate his price. This would be the window to do it. If we wait until the next window, I think the prices are going to be massively reduced for a lot of players, because this window has been wild for everyone throwing money around. So I feel like it could sort of like regulate itself a little bit in the January window going back into the summer. But then again, if he has an incredible season and really kicks on, his price goes up. So I feel like Chelsea are in a winning position there in regards to Villa and United, who are looking for that number 9. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinion down below. Do you still want to offload Jackson this summer? Do you feel like there is a pathway of redemption this season if he does stay, purely because he has to earn his position over the likes of Delap and João Pedro? Very curious to know your thoughts. Matt Law has reported that Chelsea's dream signing this summer is Morgan Rogers, but a deal will be difficult to conclude unless PSR rules force Aston Villa's hand to sell. This will not go away. I have given my opinion many times over Morgan Rogers to Chelsea. I think it would be an incredible signing. An absolutely incredible signing. Now, a lot of you guys have said in the comments, where's he going to play? Spending 60, 70, 80 million pounds on a rotation player makes no sense. When you know, if he's going to be rotation for Palmer, or if he's going to play out on the left as well, potentially, and you've got the likes of Gittins and Pedro Neto that can play there, João Pedro that can play there. Why are we going to spend 80 million pounds on a rotation player? And I hear you. I do. I feel like there is a myriad of things here. As a player, exceptional. Makes a lot of sense. Chelsea are going in for Xavi Simons, who we're going to talk about a little bit later in the video. So then you go, well, that's like for like, and it looks like Xavi Simons is going to be a cheaper option. Still a lot of potential. Doesn't have as much doesn't have any Prem experience, but you know, there are a few caveats to that. But it's a cheaper option that Chelsea are advancing in. You then got Morgan Rogers, who has Prem experience, Man City Academy, very good friends with Palmer. £80 million. And the only reason he's £80 million is because Aston Villa are like, well, if we have to sell him, it's because of PSR. So we have to charge a premium to get him gone. Because, you know, when that money lands, we have to then replace Rodgers for a lesser amount of money, knowing what everyone else is going for this window. It's very unlikely to happen. And it also then helps with PSR. Chelsea are just sniffing around. We just want Morgan Rodgers. And I feel like we're just waiting for the right opportunity. This was a phrase that was run around before the window and during the start of the window of Chelsea are going to look at market opportunities. And I feel like they've done that very well so far. Some have gone our way, some haven't, admittedly. But I feel like they've done that very well. And I feel like Morgan Rodgers is that player where it's not going to go away. Chelsea are just looming over, waiting for the right opportunity to pounce. I don't feel like they'll go spend £80 million, especially if we are going to secure Xavi Simons as well. That, to me, will be like, well, that's wild. I know we're looking to offload players, you know, in Nkunku, João Felix. They are two sort of players in the mould of Morgan Rodgers. They could play as a false nine, play as a 10, play out the right, play out on the left, wherever you need them to play. And Enzo Maresca wants those types of players. But if you're going to bring in Xavi Simons, that's 1-for-1. So I suppose there could be room. But then how are you going to keep these players happy of bringing in a Morgan Rodgers and a Xavi Simons in the same type of role? I just think it's going to be a headache for Maresca, a good headache to have, by the way, rather than not having enough players that can fit the profiles. But I don't see Chelsea going in for Morgan Rodgers unless everything goes categorically wrong, or there is a very good opportunity for Chelsea to sign Rodgers. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you see Morgan Rodgers' Chelsea happening at this summer window? Do you feel like this is going to be something that happens in the future? Very curious to know your thoughts. Fabrizio Romano has reported the Chelsea latest, and nothing has stalled or stopped for Hato and Simons. It's just negotiation. Sometimes you don't close deal in 24 or 48 hours. Chelsea want to spend around €40 million for Hato, Ajax want more. My feeling is it will happen, and I have the same feeling for Simons. With Xavi, there's two discussions ongoing at the same time. One for him and one for Carney Chukwuemeka. Ben Jacobs has also reported that Chelsea are working hard to try and complete both Xavi Simons and Hato. If they do that, their incomings will be all but done. Unless they decide to move for a goalkeeper or decide they need another number 9, should both Nkunku and Jackson go. This is getting into the crunch time now. It looks like Xavi Simons and Hato are happening. We spoke about this for most of this week. We're just waiting for the here we go. But it's also quite nice for Fabio to reiterate that not all deals happen overnight. It is going to take some time, right? And I feel like Chelsea are really working the best that they can to get these deals over the line. And I feel like the opposing clubs of Ajax and RB Leipzig are doing everything they can to make sure these deals are right. You know, Leipzig want Carney in return. Carney is favouring a move to Dortmund. That is not going to be something that's solved instantly. So if that is the case, that we get Xavi Simons and Carney goes the other way, then that means it's going to take a bit longer. I don't feel like, we all know that personal terms are not an issue. Xavi Simons has been like, yep, cool, done. Hato, yep, cool, done, not a problem. Agreed to long-term wages and contracts, not an issue. It's just the club's negotiation that fee. Now, when it comes to Hato, Chelsea want to spend £34 million. Now, there are rumours and things that keep getting posted online that it's looking around £34 million up front, plus the add-ons, which takes it over that 40 million euros that Ajax want. And again, if we can get it as close to 40 million euros as possible, even 45 million euros, 48 million euros, even 50 million euros, I feel like that is a good deal for someone like Hato, because originally Ajax wanted 60 million euros. Which is why, or 60 million pounds or something ridiculous like that. And Chelsea were like, well, hang on a minute. No, we're thinking more around the 40 million pound mark. That's where we're sitting. 40 million pounds is about 46 million euros, which I think is what is going to get done by, right? And again, I get confused with the euros and pounds because it's been chucked around a lot this window compared to others, which I find very strange. Usually we all focus on one currency normally when the reports come out. However, it's been different. In regards to the Xavi Simons deal, again, they're looking at 70 million euros, which is about 60 million pounds, which again, I think is a very good deal for a player of Xavi Simons, because like we mentioned earlier in the video, Morgan Rodgers is a like-for-like style player with Prem experience that links to the Man City Academy. 80 million pounds. It's 20 million pounds cheaper for a player of the same age that's got extremely comparable technical abilities and what they can do on the pitch in terms of positions played. The only difference is Prem experience. Is Prem experience worth 20 million pounds? Who knows? Maybe in terms of finances and in market value, but realistically, if you can get a basically the same profile of player for 20 million less, Me personally, I think it makes sense to go for the cheaper option. Like I also mentioned earlier, if Chelsea do offload Jackson and Nkunku as well as Felix, then there is probably still an opening for someone like Morgan Rogers. But I can't see Chelsea going to spend 60 million on Xavi Simons, then 80 on Morgan Rogers, and then 50 or 45, 50 on Hato. That's a lot of money. Yes, we've generated a lot, and we have a lot of money generated by player sales, but we still have to sell them. We can't be spending all this money and go, it'll be all right. We have to actively sell these players. So it's going to be a very interesting window for Chelsea for the rest of the window, right? We're also creeping up slowly to pre-season. It's a few weeks away now, which means that the Premier League season is less than a month away. So we need to kind of speed things up in terms of outgoings for sure, because it's a long, long list. But I do feel like Xavi Simons and Hato will be done, will be over the line. We are in advanced talks with Xavi Simons. There's also been reports on that. Fabrizio Romano reported that Chelsea and Leipzig are now in advanced talks for Xavi Simons. Club negotiations are progressing well. There is still work to do, but they are headed in a positive direction. Xavi is keen on the Chelsea project, with personal terms talks also advanced. So again, like I said, I feel like these deals are going to get done. It is a matter of time. It's just Chelsea fans are frothing at the mouth, at the edge of our seat, biting our nails, waiting for the bomber, waiting for the here we go, and hopefully we get it over the weekend. That would be amazing news. I predicted it was going to be Friday, which was yesterday, so I've got that hideously wrong. Fair enough. It is what it is. The game is the game. So what I'd like to know from you guys is how much do you think we're going to sign Xavi Simons for? How much do you think Jorel Hato's fee is going to be? And when do you think it's going to be announced? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. And Philip Hines has just reported that Xavi Simons starts for RB Leipzig today. The demand continues to be £60 million all in. Still, no official bid from Chelsea. This is very interesting, something I'm just going to bolt onto this section. That he's starting and playing. Now, we did cover yesterday's video that he's still training as normal. He's got no limitations or restrictions, and he's still integrated with the RB Leipzig squad because, as far as they're concerned, they're still at the negotiation stages and no need to rock the boat too much. Xavi Simons has expressed his will to leave and how he's, greenlit the personal terms. That's very, very close. But it's very interesting that he's starting in the pre-season game. He better be careful. Because the reason why a lot of these potential transfer players don't do the pre-season or stay on the bench or not in the squad, because if they are going to be bought and they're off to a new suitor, a new employer, that employer doesn't want to pick up a brand new player that's injured. So I'm hoping that Xavi Simons stays injury-free. I really, really do. And I just thought it's something worth noting that he is still going to be playing RB Leipzig pre-season games. By the next one, he may not play because the deal might have already been finalised, or if we're in the latter stage of the negotiations, I doubt he will play. But as of today, he is playing in that game. Chelsea still want, the demand is still £60 million all in. I personally feel like that is the €70 million that RB Leipzig want. I still think £60 million is an absolute bargain for someone like Xavi Simons. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding this. Are you happy that Xavi Simons, a player that we're heavily negotiating to try and sign, is playing the pre-season game? Or would you much rather he wasn't playing, just on the off chance that he does pick up an injury? Let me know your thoughts down below. Fabrizio Romano has reported some transfer news. Chelsea and another top Premier League side are showing strong interest in Kenan Yildiz. The two Premier League clubs are prepared to make a serious offer for him. Juventus are determined to renew his contract and will push to do so in the next coming days/weeks, reports by Fabrizio. Now look, I honestly feel like they are using Chelsea and this other top Premier League club to bolster the renewal rate of the contract for Kenan Yildiz. I do not see Chelsea securing his signature. I do not see Yildiz leaving Juventus. We reported on it yesterday. It was from the Gazzetto, I believe, the Italian newspaper, saying that we had a £55 million bid rejected by Juventus. And I can't help but think that this is all just to kind of bolster the sort of demand and renewal money on his contract, because Juventus won't want to let him go. They just won't want to let him go. He's a fantastic player. Unbelievable talent for his age. He really, really is. But I wanted to react to this with you guys today and get your opinions down below. Do you feel like Chelsea are going to be serious like they say and go in and try and sign him? Because again, yes, he could play on the left. He could play as a number 10. We are keeping our options open for that type of player that can play across that front four. Right? Very, very open. Someone that's going to be a rotation player. Now, I don't know what the type of money Juventus are going to want to demand for a player like Yildiz. But considering that his contract's up for renewal, it means that potentially Chelsea and this other top Premier League club could go in and essentially try and force a lower cost because of the contract renewals. But at the same time, I don't think Juventus are going to let him go. I really don't know where I stand on this. I don't feel like this is solid. I know Fabrizio has reported on it, so it kind of gives it a lot more credibility compared to newspaper talks, right? But I've said, I think it was last week, a lot of the newspaper talks this summer window have been pretty accurate. There's been some that are absolutely wild, right? We know that. There always is. But this window specifically, some have been fairly accurate or within a few days of each other, which, you know, is a lot to say really, because normally the papers just talk absolute waffle. Now, me personally, I don't see this happening. I really, really don't. I feel like Yildiz is going to stay at Juventus. He's going to get a contract renewal, and he's going to get the money that he wants purely because of the media attention around it. Chelsea have been linked with him quite a few times, but it's gone very, very quiet for a long period of time. And now all of a sudden his contract's up for renewal. It's now loud noise again. So that's just my 2 cents. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below on it. I know this is a very small segment. It's kind of an add-on from yesterday's video where we spoke about this supposed unofficial bid that was rejected. It kind of went under the radar, and again, it could just be paper talk. Fabrizio's given it a bit more credibility for sure. Now, if Chelsea are to put in a serious offer for him, I still don't see Chelsea signing him. And again, happy to be proven wrong, because money talks, we know that. But Juventus are going to want to keep him. He's such a young talent that's going to do so much. Like, he's going to do bits. He's already doing bits for someone his age in the Serie A. I just don't see Juventus wanting to let him go. And if, again, they could just pull the card of, all right, you want him, stupid money. Because we don't want to let him go. But if we hit X amount of millions, then yeah, you can have him. Because again, this is what Aston Villa are doing with Morgan Rogers. They don't want to sell him, but same way we're doing with Jackson. We don't really want to sell him. However, if you hit this ridiculous amount of money, quite happily sell him for that, because then we feel confident we can replace him, make some profit, etc. So I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Kenan Yildiz. Do you feel like Chelsea can go secure his signature this summer? Do you think this is all waffle? Do you think this is all being used to boost his renewal of his contract? I personally think it's the latter. I think he is using this to renew his contract with a better rate. But love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. And Fabrizio Romano has also reported that Chelsea agree a deal to sign 18-year-old winger Jesse Derry from Crystal Palace, beating 8 European clubs for the England winger. Medical will take place on Friday as the teenage sensation looks set for a move to Germany before Chelsea hijacked the move. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything about Jesse Derry. That would be very disingenuous of me, and I'm always very open and honest with you guys. Very transparent. I know nothing about this guy. Nothing at all. I saw this was reported yesterday. So between yesterday and today, I've done my research, had a little look to see what I can find about this player. And I'm going to share it with you guys in terms of stats, position played, and why it's important that Chelsea have beaten 8 European clubs for his signature. This is huge. Big pull from Chelsea. There are 2 ways of looking at the whole 8 European clubs, because it's not been disclosed who they are. Was it Barcelona? Was it Madrid? Was it the likes of RB Leipzig? Was it the likes of Dortmund, Bayern Munich? Or was it clubs a little bit lesser known in the Champions League spots, or even out of the Champions League spots across Europe? We don't really know. But I feel like Chelsea have done very well here, because from what I've learned from Jesse Derry, he's a very exciting wonder kid. So I'm going to share you some stats and also go through his positions that he plays and see, kind of map out what the plan is with Jesse Derry. So as you can see by the graph, the positions he's primarily played is left wing, but he's also played as a left mid, an attacking midfielder, a right winger, and as a centre forward. And they've got a little breakdown here. So 18 games, 14 goals, 4 assists as a left winger. Centre forward, 3 games, 3 goals. Right winger, 2 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. Attacking midfielder, 2 games, 2 goals. And left midfield, so a bit deeper, 2 games and no goals or assists. But it's very interesting to me that we're going after these profiles that are very fluid across the front line. It is also important to note that this guy's 18 years old, so he's still developing his game. He's obviously primarily a winger, played most of his time on the left, but can play in other positions, which is perfect for an Enzo Maresca profile, perfect for an Enzo Maresca system, that attacking front four that are very fluid with each other. So here we have Jesse Derry's career stats so far. Again, important to know he's only 18 years old. So he's played in the Under-18s Premier League, Premier League 2, FA Youth Cup and the EFL Trophy. Total of 38 games, scoring 20 goals and getting 6 assists, which is 129 minutes per GA, which is a very good return, really. Again, very young player, still developing his game, very raw. But Chelsea have gone after this wonder kid and we've secured him. And this is very exciting to look at. Now, yes, he's played majority of those games in the Under-18 Premier League, as you would be, only just turning 18, right? But 23 games, 19 goals, 4 assists for a winger. A very good return in that sense. Premier League 2 is obviously that step up into, the next level. 10 games, 1 assist. FA Youth Cup, 4 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, and then EFL Trophy, just an appearance, and he played 27 minutes in that as well. So substitute appearance, can't really knock him too much for that. But this is very, very exciting, because when you look at Chelsea, we have been crying out for a good left winger since Eden Hazard. And that's the reality. A good left winger since Eden Hazard. And he is generational. So it's not like you just go and buy one or pick one out and go, oh, that'll do. That's your next Eden Hazard. It doesn't work like that. We all know that it doesn't work like that, right? So when you look at this, Chelsea are really developing that left-hand side. We've brought in Jamie Gittins. We have João Pedro that can play on the left. We have the likes of Pedro Neto that can play right or left. That's for the right now. But we also have Tariq George, who is for the future and can also play now. It looks like he'll be going on loan this season for more development because, again, he's in that prime period of his career where he can go and develop and come back. I feel like he has a very bright future ahead of him at Chelsea Football Club if we can keep hold of him. But again, he's primarily a left winger. Then we've also signed Jesse Derry, who's also a young left winger who can then go out and develop. He's not going to get any game time at Chelsea. He's very, very young, and there's no real pathway right now. But when you think of it, in the next 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, you've got the likes of Tariq George developing, who's going to really kick on and be an incredible player, because we've already seen how good he is now. Imagine a few years of development. Unbelievable. We might have the likes of Xavi Simons, who can also play on the left wing as well. That's for now. But then you also look at Jesse Derry developing. That's 2 left wingers that we are putting through development who have very high standards, very technical, very quick, touchline wingers that can beat their man, perfect for a Maresca-style system, goal-scoring wingers. We can create chances as well. The future is looking very, very bright for Chelsea on that left-hand side, which is a position we've been screaming out for to be sorted. Right-hand side's not been too bad over the last sort of 10 years. We've had a myriad of wingers coming in that have done okay, done poorly, done very good. But a nice little balance. That left wing, we've just struggled. We've struggled. Yes, we've had some occasionally good players there, don't get me wrong. And I feel like the likes of your Pedro Netos have done well there. Your Wackes have done okay when he's out on the left. Mudryk obviously got banned. So, and again, he was still there to be developed. He was clearly not the polished player we thought he was going to be, or at least ahead of the development curve that we thought he was going to be when we bought him. And obviously, he can't play for the next however many years. So very, very low. Sancho, I think, did okay over the loan spell. But again, it's not a permanent move, right? So that left-hand side's got a big gaping hole. We bought Gittins to plug the hole now. João Pedro can play there now. Pedro Neto can play there now. So cool, we're sorted. But in terms of development going forward, Tariq George and Jesse Derry, those are the 2 people we need to be keeping an eye on as the time goes on, because they can both develop into unbelievable players. We know Tariq George is good, but I mean, even more of a better player, if that makes sense. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Jesse Derry. Do you know anything about him? Like I said, I didn't know anything. I had to go look at his stats, look at all of the highlights I could find, read articles and kind of see what the general consensus was around him, learn a bit more about him. This is what I've learned and discovered what I want to react to with you guys. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Is this a good move from Chelsea? It's also very impressive that Chelsea beat 8 European clubs for his signature. Massive pull for the world champions. So yeah, on that left-hand side, is it looking promising, or do you feel like this is just one to buy and then sell in the future for profit? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And that's all the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.